Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. You guys have been sending in your video suggestions, so we're going to cover them today. This one's from Out Cold. He says best UAD plugins to pick up for $99 for $10. So apparently UAD is doing some sale called the Winter Mixtape Bundle. So I have basically every UAD plugin there is. And the first thing you want to make sure is that this is on native. Okay, this will make sure that you don't need the actual hardware to run the software. Very important. Now let's see what they have in the list. So once you turn that on, it's only one page of options here. So let's start at the bottom and kind of do process of elimination. So Polymax is really good. The sound, one time I played this by accident using my Prophet 6 as a MIDI controller. I honestly thought I was listening to my Prophet 6. So this sounded like my actual hardware synth. For that reason, this one's really good. And it doesn't have that digital sound. It has like a nice analog sound to it where it doesn't even feel like a synth sometimes. The LA2A, this is just good if you record vocals. FET, if you don't have it, kind of run in the mill. You guys need those. Let me see what else. These don't really, I wouldn't say everybody needs those. Now, if you're doing drum breaks and like acoustic boom bap, pure plate reverb could be cool. But before we just jump into that, let's see what else we have here. We have a tape machine. So again, I'm thinking in the mind of a producer. This one I didn't really like, the A-type multi-band dynamic enhancer. I didn't like the sound of that. Personally speaking. Now let's keep going. So a lot of these have other options. That LA3A is pretty good for bass and vocals as well. It has a different type of tone. This one's goated. Electra 88. The fact that you guys can get this for basically $10 is like, that's a supreme value. Okay, this should be $150. This is a really well done e-piano. It sounds very good. Let me see here. So we did the LA stuff. Anthem analog synthesizer was cool. I mean, it just depends on if you're inspired by it. Personally, it didn't jump out that much to me. Now the Moog Mini Moog could be cool for people who are into hip hop and funk. So that would be a cool value. I don't think I tested this one, the Avalon 737. Basically the way I hear it, you have to push heavily into it to really have that preamp sound, in terms of character. I even used the analog version before. So I have one under my desk. I have one in real life, and I used Access Analog's version of it, and I had to drive signal really hard through it to really hear the tone of it. So I'm not sure it has a color that's very obvious. For that reason, we're going to skip that. The API 2500 is more for like rock snare, capital chambers. Probably wouldn't get that one. Now, wait, I think I'd put the 1176. So instead of the 1176 by itself, let's put the bundle here. Because we want the Blueface one for vocals. That one's very well done. And let's see what else we have in here. So we have the SSL. Now, personally, there's no plugin that sounds like the real SSL compressor, in my opinion. I've heard the real thing, and no plugin sounds like it, Waves or UA. The SSL just does something magical, the analog version. Now, the distressor, you could get different tones out of it. Again, does it sound like the real thing? That's to be debated. But okay, so we have 3 slots still. Now here's a sleeper one, is if you're a sound designer who makes drum breaks and stuff, the Sound City Studios is really good. It adds realistic room environments to dry drums. So you can basically make your drums sound like they were recorded in different places or add this to your melodies. That's a really slept on plugin there. So from what I remember, the organ was really well done. From what I remember, I haven't used it very often, but this is really good if you guys get into 2000 beats, like G-Unit beats, stuff like that. Organ is one of those things where it's just hard to get that realistic sound. And from what I remember, this one sounded very realistic. So that is definitely a value. But again, the last 3 slots are kind of hard to decide on. Opal had some pretty cool presets in here, the synthesizer here. But if I had to kind of pick a last slot, you guys see how hard it is to even pick from the existing options here. So it's kind of like the last slot is just like whatever you guys are going to be into. Now, if you're going for the classic kind of modern melodies, the Galaxy Tape Echo could be cool, this analog delay unit. So that could be cool. So I think those are the best values on this page. I'm surprised they actually offered like a lot of these, like the Distressor. I'm surprised that's on this list. I'm surprised the Electra 88. This is my favorite plugin of all these. The Electra 88 definitely worth it, 100%, 1000% worth it. If you're making R&B, modern hip hop, like that keyboard is just, there's no keyboard that I've heard like it. It has a special wah pedal that nothing sounds like it. All right, so that's the list, guys. Hopefully, let's just do a little quick recap real quick. So Galaxy Tape Echo, you know, that was just kind of thrown in. I wouldn't say jump out your way to go get it. The Waterfall B3 organ, again, not the top of the list, but it's cool. UAD Sound City Studios. This is great for sound designers who are trying to get into more realistic drums, sound design. You have the Distressor. This is good for just getting general tones. The 1176, the Blueface is really good for vocals. Very, very good. Moog, Mini Moog. This is good for hip hop and more modern R&B stuff. Again, the Electra 88 here is the best value on this list, in my opinion. The LA3A, really good for bass. I use it on bass. LA2A is just good for vocals. Polymax, again, I played my Prophet 6, which is a $2,000 keyboard. And I thought I was playing my Prophet 6, but I was playing the Polymax. I honestly couldn't tell the difference. So the fact that this thing is a digital synth that sounds analog is a pretty cool thing. So that would be my list for you guys. Hopefully that added value to most of you guys. And I'm going to be making videos about you guys' video suggestions next. So keep an eye out for yours. Peace out, guys.